Hello, hello. Welcome back to Thrive Live. Hi, Ray. Hi, Jason. How are you today?
Good. Beth
Good,
and Ray, how are
good.
you?
Good,
Doing
good.
great. Doing great.
Excellent. Excellent. So, we talked last week about horrible bosses,
Yeah,
right?
we
Yep.
came at that
Yeah.
topic harsh. I mean, we
Yeah.
went for it. Like I had a friend, he texted me after the show and he said, I literally don't think there's a boss type that you left out. Like you covered everyone. And he
Yeah.
sent me like a little emoji of like somebody pointing at the screen going, oh, that's me. That's me. So
Yeah.
he felt
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we exhaustively covered that topic.
Well, I think
Yep.
unfortunately, so many people have had at least one of the types that we discussed that is a less than appealing uh, personality to work with, right?
We
Yes, it was
have.
like
We all
almost
have.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like a
Yeah. We.
cathartic exchange.
Yeah,
Yeah. We.
exactly.
We kind of just let loose and really enjoyed it because it was kind of reliving some harsh memories. So it was very therapeutic.
We
That
let
are in
our
the
bad
past.
yeah, we
Because they're
let
in the
our
past.
bad boss flag fly.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So let's talk about good bosses, about the characteristics
Aw,
and the
that's so
traits
sweet.
that we want that we prefer in a boss that are good for the entire company, good for the workforce, like at Thrive HR Consulting. Just throwing it out there.
And you know what was really cool about this topic is we can like say names because we're like praising people. Last week
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had to like be all down low about it. We couldn't say
Yeah.
names, but this week
Yeah.
we can
Right.
say names.
We couldn't
Exactly.
say names, but if we emailed you a link to the show, just take a look at yourself. That's all we're saying.
Yes. Look at what link we sent you.
Yeah. That's right. That's
Watch
right.
this show and then look at the
Self.
title.
Yeah. Self-reflection is a good thing.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, self-reflection, exactly. So we've got a slide to put up. So let's just go through, what we found on this, what's on this slide. We've got 10 qualities of a great boss.
I think number one is one of Ray's favorites. You want to talk about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, a lot of it is. I think it's kind of knowing where you're going and having a mission, and that really is a big one for a lot of folks because if you don't know kind of where you're going and the steps to get there, it makes it really tough to come into work every day. And and people that we work with, organizations that are very successful really have leaders that not only appreciate their people but also you know share exactly kind of what they're thinking, where they're
Mhm.
going, and I think that's a huge piece.
Communicating that vision, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, yeah, communicating, and also it's like the vision can be, I mean, we call some of our goals, big, hairy, audacious goals, BHOGs. But you know, the the leader has to say, okay, here's my end goal, but
Mhm,
also kind of here's the steps we're going to take to get there. Because
mhm,
you can't, you can't do it all at once. You got to kind of carve it up into little bites to get there.
mhm. Yep. Nope. I totally agree. Let's move on to connects vision to daily tasks.
Yeah, I
That's
think
sort
this one's really important because a boss that can make you understand what you're doing really with any task in the organization and how that connects to where the company is going is really important because the more you understand how this job interconnects with the other things that's going on, and then you're also able to say, gosh, I'm really doing something that's benefiting the organization. And I
Mhm,
think that one of the bosses I had that was really good about that was Wendy Hill, who I had as a boss at Cisco. She was really good at making sure that we really understood what was going on in the business and what we were doing and how we were doing it, how it coordinated with those things, and how it was impacting the business moving forward. And I learned that with my own teams that you really had to do a good job of making sure that everybody understood why they needed to go in the direction that they needed to go. And
mhm,
that's really important for people when they can understand that. And that makes them, when you get everybody rowing in the same direction and they're all in unison, it's just it's a beautiful thing for the team and a beautiful thing for the manager because we're all working for the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I love that. Positive, positive. Sets clear expectations.
Yeah, that was really important. It really kind of goes with that feedback, but on setting expectations, I think one of the bosses that I had in the past two categories, uh, we had a team at Cisco that was very, very tight, very uniform. We knew exactly what our objectives were and what the end goal was
Mhm.
of our team. If you were working on a project, it was all about where's the project plan, what are all the tasks that need to be completed, and then who's responsible. And making
Mhm.
sure everybody was on the same page because that really helps you manage a team and then also understand where you may be kind of going off track a little bit and course correct. But setting those clear expectations is huge. Uh, the other part that's really important is employees really appreciate understanding what those expectations are. The biggest challenge employees have is when they're not sure what's expected of them, and then they get dinged for doing something that they didn't know they were supposed to do anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's just a huge problem with teams.
It reminds me of when you kind of walk through a space and you're like, I don't know what you want from me. Tell me what you want from me. Help me
Yeah,
help you.
yeah, exactly,
That's
exactly.
anybody in a relationship.
Yeah, right. Or with a teenager,
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. It's
Can you
so
keep
true.
it slide? Can you slide back up? So on we said sets clear expectations. Well, one of my first bosses, and she actually looks like the person on the slide, Marcy Nicolau, and she was one of my
Uh-huh.
very first bosses. And she was really clear about, okay, when I sit down and I do your review, these are the things you're going to be judged on. Like when we talk, your success is going to be measured by these 5 things. And when we come back and do that, you'll know. And these are the things to measure against. And that was like amazing, sitting down and you having that conversation. And then you knew, well, in 12 months from now, when I sit down, she's going to go through this list of things that she created for me that I need to do. And if I basically deliver to these things, she's going to be happy. If I don't deliver to these things, she's not going to be happy. And I had great performance reviews underneath her because I knew exactly what was expected. And so
Mhm.
Yeah,
that is a marvelous thing when you have a boss that's very clear about what the expectations and how you're going to be reviewed and how you're going to be thought of based upon what you're able to accomplish. So Marcy was really great at that.
yep,
Yay,
yeah.
Marcy.
Hey, Marcy.
Uh,
Provides feedback and coaching.
that's a big one, as all of these are, and the worst thing for an organization or for a team, and for a person is to only get feedback that's negative.
Mhm.
It's like whenever they use the feedback word and your manager can only give you, you already know I'm going to get beat up over something.
Yeah.
That's not the idea of feedback and coaching. It's really about, you know, here's what where there may be a problem,
Mhm.
and here let's talk about how to make it better and how to improve this area. And again, it's all about providing constructive feedback, and listening and supporting your employee,
Mhm.
uh, because it can't just be one way. It's not always just good. Not very
Mhm.
few of us are just fantastic at our job,
Well,
other
I
than
mean,
yourselves,
Yeah,
other
well,
than
except for
yourselves.
Beth.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just ask me,
Exactly.
I'll let
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's right. But that feedback and coaching is so huge, and I think you know I had a really strong leader, Diane Adams at Cisco, again provided great one-on-ones, provided great feedback,
Mhm.
always focused on my development, and that really helped me grow as a contributor.
Very true. Very true. Nobody needs to hear the negatives all the time, but you can't hear the positives all the time either. You really need that, like,
Exactly.
this is what we're lacking as a team. Let's do this to move forward. Totally
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
Put that back up again because I want to make sure I comment on that. Provides feedback and coaching. So Holly Castro, who is the CHRO of Miro, the whiteboarding company, and was
Yeah.
the CHRO of Yeti. She was really good at this. I mean, when she would sit down and have your review with you, and we typically got reviewed every 6 months by her, she was exceptional at really taking some detailed time and writing up the things that she thought you needed to improve on, like really deep, well thought of commentary, not just, you need to make sure the Johnson report is on time, at the first of the month. It wasn't like that.
Mhm.
It was in order to continue to grow and to develop, these are some skills that I think that you need to do. They were both hard and soft skills, and they were so incredibly like well thought out. They were actually like emotionally moving, because you're like, wow, this person really thought about me and really thought about what she needs to tell me to help me get ahead. And that really motivated you to work really hard for somebody when they would spend that much time
Mhm.
thinking about you, and that you were on their mind and engaged on their mind, which was amazing.
And she was investing in you. She was really
She was
showing that
investing,
you were a
like
part-
she
Yeah.
didn't have to do it. She's super busy, and
Yeah.
she has a lot of other things to do. And she could have easily said, "Okay, here's your review. Here's your raise," or "You didn't get a raise," and off you go. But she didn't do that, and that was very, 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 very impactful to me. Ooh,
Let's go to the slide.
Alrighty.
heck, we
For
have
those
a little,
listening,
yeah.
for those listening on the
little technical
podcast that can't
glitch.
see what happened, Jason's background television just decided to pop off to like the PGA tour or something.
Yeah,
Yes, at least
exactly.
something, family appropriate.
Uh,
So cares about the employee. You sort of touched on that in the last one, but I think there are lots of ways that managers and leaders can really show that they care about employees. What are some good ways
Yeah.
that you've seen in the past?
Well, I mean, on that one, it's about looking at the person as a whole person. It's not just their work life. It's the family. It's how they want to develop their career. It's helping them kind of advance in their career. It's really kind of showing that you care about that individual. And I think whenever you're having a discussion with somebody, it's always good to figure out, hey, how are things going with that individual personally,
Mhm.
because that affects how they do their job on a day-to-day basis, and that's really, really critical. I mean, when I was at Cisco, I was managing a team in Latin America, and in one example specifically in Brazil, when they were going through a huge economic challenge where, you know, they were losing their purchasing power daily. I mean, the what they could buy at the store in the morning was costing more in the afternoon. So, so I made it a real point to help my person there, and seeing how they were doing, financially, personally, with their kids, their family, and we did some really creative things. But that personal connection helped me understand how the employees were being impacted, and that's why we took we did a bunch of creative things to put more money in people's hands, as an
Mhm.
example.
It's that's a difficult. Oh, sorry. What
No,
were
go
you
ahead,
saying?
Beth.
I was going to say that's sort of a difficult task to complete to really get to know someone in your office, depending on how many employees there are in your company or under you, and also sort of what your own limitations are. We don't all have that natural way about us. It reminded me. I had, on the opposite scale, I had someone that I worked for, and we have twins, and I was pregnant with twins, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. He was in and out of the office, out of the country often. And after I had the twins and I was back at work, he saw me pass him on the escalator, and he commented on how it looks like I'd really worked hard to lose some weight. And I was like, I had two people that I don't have now within my body. So yes, I would. Thanks, like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a topic for another day. Things not to say at work to pregnant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Show
Yeah.
now,
What I mean
Oh,
is,
yeah.
Yeah.
if you're gonna try to connect with someone, actually do it or don't bother.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
do it in a meaningful fashion and not just sort of to
Well,
vomit the words on someone. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
the thing about it is
So true.
if you're awkward with words, and
Right.
some people are awkward in using their words in the spoken format, email is a great friend. Like, hey, I saw you. You looked great today. After the birth of. I mean, like, you can't do that in
No, you
today's
don't
day and
even do
age.
that.
You
You
can't
just,
do that
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
today.
yeah.
you
But you
say,
can
Yeah,
just
yeah.
say, hey, it
how
was nice.
about nice to see you?
Yeah,
Nice
nice
to
seeing
see
you.
is a
You
good
looked
one.
really happy. Blah blah blah. Something really
Yeah.
random like that. So you
Yeah.
can engage, in non-verbal ways. And I think the people that take interest in you, people, I mean, you can do it easily. I mean, if you can ask me, hey, what's the, their kid, try to remember their kid's name, or try
Right.
to remember the wife's name, or how are you doing? Ray's really good at that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how's so and so, or how's so and so doing? How are your kids doing at band or whatever? Goes a long way,
It does.
and for sure.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
And I've had bosses that have been really good at that, about asking about things and checking in and making sure things are good at home and all of that. And that's super important.
All right. The next one that we have shares personal experiences. Now, this can go awry.
Yeah, exactly.
Line.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about the positive. Let's talk about the positive on this one.
Yeah, on this one, I think you've got to be, you've got to be sensitive to not playing the one-up story. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, my dog died. Then coming up with, hey, I had 2 dogs that died at the same
Yeah.
time. I mean, that doesn't, do anybody any good. I think on the personal experiences, it's part of it is being empathetic, and saying, somebody, is having a challenge at home, try to, try to be as sensitive as possible and
Mhm.
support them. But it's not, hey, I went through a divorce too, and my spouse was a
Best
bitch.
thing that ever happened.
And it was awesome.
Yeah,
I was
like,
partying in 2 weeks after the ink was dry.
yeah. Try to keep it work related, their performance related. Don't go, the pity party.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah, go ahead.
to keep it specifically work related. If
Yeah,
someone's going through
yeah,
a hard time in another area, maybe just don't, make that a focus at work, but
yeah,
say,
yeah,
I can tell we're struggling with this client. In the past, I've had a client with similar attributes. Here's how I got through it. Let me know
yeah,
if you talk about that sometime. Something
yeah,
like that might be.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the point that I was going to make.
yeah,
It is really good.
yeah.
I always used to tell my teams examples of times when I just totally got in trouble over something,
Mhm.
or something went bad, or something went down, and I'm like, hey guys, like, when I did this in the past, this is where I got tripped up, and then this is where I was called out on the carpet, and whatever happened. I said, so let's make sure that we don't do this, or when I got written up, or whatever it was, over the course of my career. It only happened once.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. But for a very stupid
So
thing.
curious.
For a very stupid thing. He's so stupid. But I'd always talk about how I failed. And I didn't necessarily talk about ways that I was successful, because people don't want to hear about you talking about
Mhm.
successes. I mean, people hearing about how you screwed up is really a lot more
Relatable.
enabling. And
Yeah.
people are like, wow,
Yeah.
this guy's on this. My boss is not afraid to tell me that he had problems and screwed things up.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Like, he's helping me.
Yeah, and we do that all the time. I mean, if we've got a client concern or a client
Yes, I screw
challenge,
up daily. Thanks for
Yeah.
reminding me, Ray.
we talk about it. We say, okay, now how are we going to address this? I mean, what do we know about the client? What do we know about the situation? And really kind of put together a kind of a strategy on the approach. Even who's going to contact the client, and
Mhm.
who's going to be the point of contact on the issue. So that's really important to personalize it and use those experiences.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we've got here. We've got makes work fun. How do you make work fun on a budget? Because
On a
everybody's
budget.
budgeting now.
Oh
So
yeah, oh yeah. I think it's if you're going to do that, do it well. Don't cheap out. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the thing. I mean, you know, I've been on kind of happy hours where the boss basically said, "Hey, I can afford one drink. You pay for everything else." It's like, well, come on, then let's just not do this.
Yeah.
So do it the right way. But it's important even now in a virtual environment that that you do have fun and you do identify you know things that have gone wrong and make fun of yourself. I mean, I
Mhm.
used that blunder that we did a couple of weeks ago. I
Oh, our
sent that
blooper
around,
reel?
our blooper reel. I thought that was awesome. I mean, people got a great kick out of that. It's like it's okay, nothing wrong with that. I mean, that I even sent it to my daughter and my son who's on the blooper reel. So yeah, so we had a great laugh at that. So you got to make it fun.
You
Yeah, I
do.
think in
Yeah.
terms of making work fun, it just has to be. You have to be able to and willing to want to smile and then just have laughter and joke. I
Mhm.
mean, joking is difficult now because there's a lot more um,
Scrutiny.
carefulness that we need to have about joking. But there still is lots of things that are funny that come up every day that are very
Mhm.
benign, and are good to have some clean fun over. And there's just some groups or some leaders where people are comfortable with that. Like they'll make a joke and you laugh and you have a good time in the meeting. And then there's
Mhm.
some people where you'll make a joke and you can see that the leader is really upset. Like, okay, we're laughing and that took like 30 seconds away from what I have to say, and I'm not happy about that. Like that was
Yeah,
Mhm.
stupid. Why did you make a joke? And so like those are just the not fun environments, and they don't make work fun. And people are like, God, I can't even make a stupid joke here. This is how bad this environment is. This is how bad my
yeah,
boss is.
Mhm.
And so, you know, that's something that's so simple and so easy and so cheap. It costs you nothing. And it
yep,
makes such a difference. And people just love you for having a boss that has a personality and is in wants to make a fun place.
I was working very recently at a production television, and I was in the control room, and there's like 10 people in the area where we were, and someone said something, just a quick sentence that wasn't related to the actual job, and someone on a high level who was in the room said, "That's not constructive." I mean, it wasn't anything mean or off color. Somebody was coughing and somebody said, "Wow, it sounds like we're all sick. Nobody's sick, right? Ha ha." That was it. Total. That's it. That's a whole sentence.
yeah, yeah,
And someone on the higher end of things lost it and said, "You're very distracting, blah, blah, blah." And we were like, what is
Yeah.
happening?
You
What is
know what's
happening?
distracting? You
yeah,
losing your cool
So
over a
after
yeah,
that,
stupid
we were all
joke.
like this. I'm not going to talk to you, but I'm texting you
Yeah, I
because
know
I'm
exactly.
really
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
tired.
And
That's
then
right. That's right.
remember, this is what somebody once said this to me a long time ago, and it always stuck with me. And maybe it's because I'm an odd individual, but I will tell I don't think I'm odd, but things strike me differently than other people. But
Right.
this individual said to me, at work, you always have to have a villain. And there's always a villain at work, somebody that we don't like, or somebody that's
Mm.
awful, or somebody that, just behaves in a bad way. And so, as the boss, don't be the villain, because what you just described, that's them becoming the villain. Because then everybody's like texting like behind the boss's back and afraid to
I
say
was scared
anything.
to
Oh yeah,
even,
Yeah, like, oh,
we
this
yeah,
were
guy's a
all scared
jerk,
to say a word after
Yeah.
that. Like,
yeah,
and this is something that I do 3 or 4 times a week,
yeah,
but always with different individuals. So that's not the norm. That would have been the norm 25 years ago,
Yeah.
but that's no longer the norm. So for it to have it happen, we were like, what is
yeah.
where
Yeah, and if you're
No,
emotionally
serious?
intelligent person and you hear that comment, what you should say is, "Oh my gosh, guys, if anybody here is sick, if you're not feeling well, you should be at home. Like I don't want anybody here sick. I want you at home
Yeah.
taking care of yourself." Make that comment. That will go so far with your team. Like, oh my gosh, like that person really cares. Like they don't want us here sick. I
Right.
mean, as opposed to being a complete jerk about it.
Yeah. It was like actually
yeah,
somebody like choked on some water. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Which was the
Something
point. Like
big.
it was funny. Like, bro, you sound like you're
Yeah,
sick.
Die on your
yeah,
own
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
Die on your own time. You're gonna die here.
Yeah.
You're on the clock.
You're on the clock. Come on. Get the paddles, resuscitate 'em.
Fosters team development.
That one is, if you want to retain your employees, you better help them develop and help them grow in their career.
Mhm.
That is the one big one that every employee is looking for from their leader. And if you don't do it for them, they will go somewhere else to get that help. That's just the reality of the world right now. So I think it's critical that employers and managers have regular one-on-ones and talk about their development. Have a development plan in place for those employees, and that's one of the things that we really emphasize with our clients. And we do everything we can not to just do performance reviews, but also to do, goals and objectives for the next year and your development plan. So really important.
Yeah, train them or lose them. That's about the only thing I can say on this one. Like, this is so
Yeah.
clear nowadays. You just have to have training, and you have to have team-based training where it's giving skills to everyone who's in your department who maybe does the same thing, and then you have to give individualized training, things that are really important to that person where they want to keep developing. So
Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we've got. Values employee perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, that
Jason,
one
do you
comes
value-
down. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Jason, do you value our perspectives? Yes, you guys both value our perspectives on our email threads. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. I think a lot of it is just about listening. I mean, you got to listen. You have to be good at understanding where people are coming from. And good ideas come from everywhere. It's all about diversity of ideas, diversity of perspectives. And as a leader, if you're not thinking that way, you're not the only one with the best ideas. I'm sorry to tell you that, but that's just not the way it works.
dang.
Sorry, Jason. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, I learned that this is one that I learned in my childhood, and I'm not doing a therapy session seriously, but I did learn this from my father, who would, and obviously he didn't model the best behaviors. This is how I learned it. So, he would have a problem or something, whether it was working in the garage or on the car or some other thing, and I would be like, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?" And my father would say, "I'm 50 years old. Come on. I'm not listening to you from an 11-year-old. I'm not listening to you from a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And every idea I ever had, even if it was a good idea, he would shun me. He would just say, "That's stupid.
Mhm.
I don't want to hear your idea." And I learned from a very early age how disheartening that is to somebody. I thought it was a good idea. And so for me, it was always been really important. Okay, let's get everybody's opinion. Just because you tell me it and I give you the chance to voice it, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take it, but I'm at least going to listen to it. And a lot of times, things that I did as a manager, I changed because people swayed me. And it was empowering to them to feel like they could go on record and be heard. And that's really, really important. Nothing is worse than when you have a team of people that don't want to say anything because they're going to oh, he's not going to take my idea anyway. He's going to shut it down. So what's even the point?
Yeah. Why bother? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Yeah. Why am I here? Why, God? Why am I here?
That's right. That's right. Why am I breathing?
Yeah.
I don't know what you want from me.
I'm going to go to, what is it? What's the word? Rash applying or something? What's it called?
Rage.
Rage applying.
Rage applying. Yeah. You don't take care of your employees, you're going to have rage applying over the weekend.
Yeah.
For other jobs.
All right, last one. Rewards good performance.
This one's critical, and rewards isn't just money.
I was just going to say cash is a great option.
I like the cash.
Cash is good.
Sorry.
Equity is good. Gift cards are good. I mean, utilize all those things as a manager to reward your employees. But at the end of the day, a thank you for coming in today. Appreciate that you're here. really appreciate you're part of the team. All of those kinds of things make a huge difference to employees, and it keeps them engaged, and they'll go the extra effort for you. One of our clients, a logistics company here in town, when people come into the office in the morning, he basically greets everybody. And, hey, how you doing? How's your family? Thanks for coming in. We really appreciate it. Those employees have the best engagement of anybody I've ever seen, and they will not let anything bad happen to their clients, their customers, because they don't want to let the owner down.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
true.
that's huge.
I hear that often. I hear that often about good managers and good CEOs that they care about their company, they care about their people, and people you don't want to let them down.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it's like a nice breath of fresh air when you get a compliment from your boss and says, "Hey, I'm glad you're here. We couldn't do this without you." That day you get to go home feeling super empowered and like, oh, they really like me there. Like, I'm not worrying about my job that day. I'm not worried about getting fired that day. I'm not worried about anything that day as it relates to work because, my boss did something super powerful and empowering to me, and I feel really good about it. Now, only say it if you mean it. I've known people that have done that, mostly in the C-suite, where they praise somebody, and then the next day they bring them in and say, "I'm firing you." Well, wait a minute, just yesterday. Well, that was yesterday, dude. I don't feel that way today. But yeah, unless you really
happened to me.
It. Yeah,
raise the hand on that one. Happened to me.
It's happened to a lot of people. And they're like, "What? Wait, no, really?" Yeah.
Yeah. A week ago, you said we really value, you're important, all that good stuff, right?
That's called guilt. That's called pre-firing guilt. Is what that was.
It's called something.
I'm gonna have it. He's gonna have a great Thursday because Friday's gonna suck.
Give him a little positive before the leaving.
Lay off Friday. Lay off Friday.
It's like when you cook the steak for your dog, it's time to go on a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But like I said, if you mean it, please say it. If you don't mean it, don't say it. Exactly. But yeah, that's really important. And I think that those are all super important characteristics. And if you're doing all of those, you're fantastic. If you're doing a few of those, amazing. If you're not doing any of them, maybe you should take a look at that slide a little bit longer and listen to this show again and figure out what are some of the examples you can take. And
or think about being an individual contributor. That's always a good option.
Well, that what you're saying that you're laughing, but that's true.
Some
people are not cut out to be a manager.
Right.
Like, do I really want to manage people? This sucks. I have to worry about them. I have to they're whiny, and I have to listen to them, and I have to make them feel good. I'm really good at blah blah blah. Well, then you know what? Do blah 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 blah. Go into your cube and listen to your Beats phone and whatever your music and all that. Your Beats headset and listen to your music and get you the great performance review and move on. You don't worry about it. Managing isn't for you.
And it's okay, I think, in business as well to say, you know what, I'm just not cut out for management, or that's just not really in my 5-year plan. I'm not interested in it. I'd like to really stay where I'm at, or I'm interested in moving this other direction. I think that's okay when you're approached as well. And sometimes you're approached not because you're the best fit, but because they have a hole to fill. So that's something else to think about.
Or they have a hole to fill, or you're great as a individual contributor at this role. So you got to be great leading a team of people doing that. Right? Yeah, right on. Yeah. So and I think the other thing that's really important now is most organizations, you can be an individual contributor and be at the same level as a manager or director or a vice president. Because those kind of roles are needed in organizations. So, you don't have to be a manager to get ahead. Just don't think that that's just not the reality anymore.
Don't tank everybody else's career because you are ambitious.
I know, the person that rises to the level of their incompetence. There you go.
Exactly. So, gentlemen, how do people get in touch with you if they'd like to talk to you about this show, any other show, or any of the services that Thrive HR Consulting provides?
Yeah, please, give us a call. We have our phone numbers on the website, as well as email Ray, REY, at thrivehrconsulting.com.
Yes, I'm Jason at thrivehrconsulting.com, and we have management training programs and classes and one-on-one coaching and all sorts of things where we can work with your managers and help them understand the importance of being good managers. So we'd love to work with you on that.
Absolutely. And if you can't remember Ray or Jason, you can email Thrive at thrivehrconsulting.com and reach one of our very capable, caring folks to talk with you about whatever it is you're looking for.
That's
Thank you, guys. Have a great time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great time in California. They're going to be at
Thank
this.
you.
Us, we'll be there, and it'll be great.
California HR conference in Long Beach. Enjoy.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
No surfing injuries.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
See you
day.
later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for joining us. Please remember to search Thrive HR Consulting on social media and wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, follow, and share to make that connection. To get an invite to our Slack channel, just comment or drop us an email at thrivehrconsulting.com. See you next time.